What's up? What's good? What's popping? What's cracking? What's percolating? What's really good in the hood is your man Theo Butler, and we are here. We are here. It is Sunday. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but if you pulled up, it is greatly appreciated. Ronnie J, we definitely do appreciate you. We do see you in the building, so thank you so much. Our apologies. It's a lot of storming going on outside. If this is your first time, we in here for a good one tonight, not for a long one. Of course, I could be wrong about that. But we do have the writings of Karama Horn as far as the history of the Panther lineage. And then we also have some other information in regards to the Panther lineage. You're going to get it here. You're not going to get it anywhere else. We're going to go all the way through the Black Panther tree. The Black Panthers, that is. From the first to the current. Yes, from the first to the current. We got 4 people. I see my elder, my advisor, Mr. Ray Smith is in the building. So without further ado, let me make sure I got the terrible towel on full display here. Make sure we got the reading glasses clear like we need them to be. And without further ado, we have the history of the Panther lineage by Dora Okoye, General of the Dora Milaje, Captain of the Agents of Wakanda, Royal Guard team leader. When she spoke with Aja Adana upon her return from Dajaya, she looked and carried herself as if she had aged many years. One of the first things she told Okoye was that she was not the first woman to reign as the queen of Wakanda and serve as Black Panther. There were 2 before her, and that the true founder of the Dora Milaje was one of them. Of course, I, Dora Milaje, always knew, for we have been protecting the throne of the Black Panther and its secrets for a very long time. There are 16 known Black Panthers of Wakanda. You will be expected to recite the names of the entire lineage for rituals and ceremonies and be able to place them properly within Wakandan history. She said 16. She said 16. That's what she said. You do call me the griot. You do. It's more than 16. Let's go. The first Panther, long before there was a Wakanda, back when gods and man wandered Earth, approximately 1,025,000 years before the Great Mound or the Panther tribe existed, there was a warrior priest whose name has been forgotten. He was the first leader of the Panther clan and the first to come upon a small meteorite of vibranium. When he touched it, Baz shared the secrets of extracting the ore, which he used to fashion a set of vibranium claws for himself. This warrior is said to have fought a fallen celestial alongside acolytes from other realms, including the elder Norse god Odin. He was the first human to wield the Norse hammer Mjolnir in battle. That would be Mosi. And this is why the hammer would not harm beloved when he fought with Khonshu, per Anika. Nagus, the first king. If Bashinga is considered the founder, and let's go there first, Olamu Bashinga, the knower, by Queen Mother Ramunda. Thousands of years after the first Panther learned the secrets of vibranium, Wakanda's alchemists, astronomers, and priests of Baz continued to study it. They searched for how to obtain more of the otherworldly ore by using what was left of the first meteor to touch Earth. The result was a second larger meteor that fell to Earth, forming the crater at Mena Negai. Sometime after, warrior shaman and chief of the Panther clan, Olamo Bashinga the Knower, investigated the crater. Bashinga knew precisely where to dig for the ore. He also knew that in its purest form, raw vibranium could not be handled, or it would cause an irreversible mutation in humans, and that only the fires of the golden volcano would be hot enough to smelt it. A reference to the originators, per Myra. So accomplished by his son and daughter, so accompanied by his son and daughter, Bashinga traveled to the volcano. At the base, Bast appeared to him and showed him a vision of the future. War was coming, but with the help of the Orisha and the mighty sword Skybreaker, the Panther clan would be victorious. Ta taught him how to build a forge at the edge of the volcano. Koku added his sacred fire to the lava so that the ore could be shaped and folded. Mujaji provided enough rainwater to cool and strengthen it, and Thoth guided him to a blackwood tree for the strongest wood to create the hilt. There, Bashinga forged the Orisha-blessed vibranium blade that never dulls and cannot break. It can channel small amounts of kinetic energy and amplify them into tremendous bursts of electricity. And when combined with spiritual energy, or I say, it would be one of the most powerful weapons on earth. When Bashinga returned to the mound a month later with the vibranium sword, the war Bast had foretold between humans and the originators had commenced. Bashinga warned the originators to stop attacking. He did not want to use his mighty sword on former allies. But when the Simbi persisted, Bast touched the sword as Bashinga raised it to the sky, splitting the heavens and bringing down the wrath of the Orisha onto thousands of originators. Those who survived were forced into the nether realm by the Orisha. They and the shaman of each Orisha would guard the gates for another 1,000 years. These priests are the first remainders, the ones who remained at the gates supplicating the Orisha so that they would bless Wakanda, per Zaravari. That's 2. Nagus, the first king. If Bashinga is considered the founder of Wakanda, then Nagus is considered its first king. Nagus fought in the first war with the Orisha and witnessed the Nri, a lost race of humans who lived in sky temples and possessed the ability to transform into birds and fly. Nagus also created the Taifa Nagao, or Council of Elders. He was a fair ruler, but not everyone was pleased about the Panther King as their leader. And the Nagandans and Azanians to the south and the Jabari to the north conspired against the Black Panther. Nagus was kidnapped by the Jabari, who were insulted that they were not included in the Taifa Nagao. The standoff went on for months, during which time his daughter, Turkana, became the first queen of Wakanda, as Nagus had no sons. Queen Turkana, the peacemaker. The daughter of Nagus had the shortest Black Panther reign in history, at only 3 months. She ruled while the Jabari held her father hostage. The assumption was that Wakanda would fall without King Nagus, but Queen Turkana, along with the Taifa Nagao, did not let that happen. Although Turkana possesses a quicker temper than her father, she was blessed with her father's gift of diplomacy. Not only did she handle the affairs of the kingdom, she brokered peace with the Nagandans and the Azanians. She personally went into the Jabari Mountains to speak with the leader of the White Ape clan. She negotiated peace in the Jabari lands for a time, as well as the release of her father. It is said that when she faced her father again in ritual combat, she simply laid down her sword and ceded the throne back to Nagus. How many is that? Now, per Karama Horn, we would have here the next Black Panther would be Mamadou Fall. Not so fast. We set this off to the side. The next Black Panther would actually be, you do call me the griot, you do. So you're gonna have to go along with me here, because it's just certain things we're not going to do, especially if we got the Jabari tribe kidnapping Negus, right? Well, the Black Panther that comes after Negus is King Zentra. We used to refer to King Zentra as the Bold, King Zentra the Bold. We now refer to King Zentra as King Zentra the Bereft. Why? Well, King Zentra was in love with a Jabari queen. And when she perished, he couldn't move on. He could not. So much so to the point that the Jabaris knew that was his weakness. So they used the resurrection altar to raise their queen right from the dead, hoping that Zentra would fall for her. And he did. He was about to turn over control of the Panther clan to the Jabari. Stay right there. Well, what we're saying here as the Council of Wakanda, the next Panther to come along and challenge Zentra was his younger brother, Mamadou Fall. Why would Mamadou Fall be his younger brother and not be the Black Panther? Because Mamadou Fall was more concerned about being a lover than a Black Panther. But understanding what was going to happen to the Panther tribe, well, Mamadou Fall got with the rest of the Panther clan. They used the drums of Negus, that ironically enough, they used the Negus beat to counteract the effects of what the Jabari were doing. Thus, the Jabari queen was deleted once again. Zentra came to his senses, realized what he was doing, and lost in battle to his younger brother, Mamadou Fall. So King Zentra actually comes after Negus, who comes after Takana, who comes after Negus. So there's King Zentra sitting right there. Thus, the next Black Panther would be Mamadou Fall. A fierce and proud warrior, Mamadou Fall reigned about a century after Turkana and Negus. He rejected all manner of protection, even from the king's guard, insisting he walk ahead of the security team whenever on official business. He is credited with single-handedly defending the necropolis against the 150 members of the Hyena clan who attempted to pillage the tombs housed there. He is also credited with creating the Panther's Teeth, a devastating booby trap capable of killing any intruder where they stand. You've seen the Panther's Teeth if you watch the BET cartoon. Yeah, you know that. That would be Mamadou Fall. Maybe the Midnight Angels can get one of those made. The Panther's Teeth. Nahanda the Wise, second queen of Wakanda and founder of the Dora Milaje. This would be the second father-daughter combo in Black Panther history. Not only was Nahanda the second queen of Wakanda, she was also the founder of the Dora Milaje, ruling a full 50 years longer than Queen Turkana. Nahanda was one of the few Black Panthers to stand alongside warriors from other lands in a battle that threatened the universe. It is said that when Thor, Odin's son, became injured in battle, Mjolnir flew to her hand. The worthiness of the Black Panthers, and that would be the second Black Panther that wielded Mjolnir. Mostly would be the first. The worthiness of the Black Panthers in battle was even mentioned in the stories Thor had heard from his father Odin. Nahanda is thought to be the only Black Panther to have chosen her successor. Because she had no heir, Queen Nahanda decided that the next king would be determined by ritual combat. Many accepted the challenge, thinking they would easily beat the 70-year-old queen, and she fought them all. However, the only person Nahanda ever laid down her weapons for was King Dejada. Since we know T'Challa's bloodline flows all the way to Mosi, what would we say King Dejada's relationship would be to Nahanda? Well, Nahanda did not have any children. Nobody said Mamadou Fall only had Nahanda as a child. Thus, King Dejada would be Nahanda's nephew from an unknown sibling. That's what that would be. We know she did not have any children, but we do not mention whether or not Mamadou Fall had any other children besides Nahanda. And since we know that bloodline goes all the way through, then on behalf of the Council of Wakanda, I submit to you that King Dejada is actually Nahanda's nephew. Speaking of King Dejada, the nation maker, the first act of King Dejada after Queen Nahanda passed along the mantle to him during ritual combat was to place her on his Tefo Nagao. Adamant about establishing a seat of government, King Dejada founded Wakanda's capital, Burning Zainab, the Golden City. Within the city, he built the Commerce Exchange, an official library that holds all the lost books from the Library of Alexandria that Wakanda acquired. A fierce and cunning warrior, Dejada was determined to establish Wakanda as a formidable nation state. He fortified the border tribe with advanced weaponry and established the Nachuru Salima, the elite assassins that were the first ones sent outside of Wakanda to gather international intelligence and silence anyone who stumbled upon the existence of Wakanda. That would be your unofficial formation of the Hattusaraze, King Dejada. Dejada's vibranium seraph staff, the nation maker, Dejada's vibranium seraph staff, the nation maker, deleted over 1,000 men in his time. The weapon featured a vibranium blade fashioned onto a sonic spear. The edge was smelted in the fires of the golden volcano and folded 100 times. Its obsidian hilt, crafted from the mountain's lava, made it Wakanda's strongest weapon, second only to Bashinga's Skybreaker. Ben-Hazen the Proud. Ben-Hazen, son of King Dejada, was like Queen Nahanda in that he was never seen without the Dora Milaje. He is credited with codifying the purpose of the Dora and expanding their ranks by extending initiations to include any woman in any tribe of Wakanda. These tactics saw the Dora membership triple as countries sent their best and brightest to the palace under the assumption that they might have a chance at becoming queen themselves. He was the first to refer to the Dora as beloved and was the first to demand that they only speak to him and no one else. Ben-Hazen never consorted with the Dora, but the elite standards he adhered to by gathering the smartest and most qualified within his ranks is the standard we use today. I'm going to take a pause, greet everybody that's in the building. Big Ronnie J in the building. Like I said, my elder, Mr. Ray Smith, is in the building. Big Terry, what's going on? Ronnie in the building. Grand Madam Tara, my spiritual advisors, in the building. Everybody, Big Chad, what's going on, Big Chad? What's going on? Everybody greeting one another. That's what's up. Next, we have Hunan the Defiant. Hunan, the son of Ben-Hazen, was controversial. He had strong feelings about the concept of the Black Panther monarchy. He agreed that Wakanda's isolationist practices shielded us from the West, yet he felt Wakandans had a duty to share their knowledge, medicine, and scientific advancements with the rest of Africa. He was the first of royal Wakandan blood to speak out against the monarchy itself and was the first to state that the role of the monarchy was to make itself obsolete. These very concepts were the basis of Baba Shangameyer's lecture series of Harkema Shul, per Io. That is what got him exiled, Hunan, exiled from burning Zana for a time, per Tila. I told y'all the monarchy's business was a mess, per Assyria. King Takanda, the wall. King Takanda, son of King Hunan, was a warrior shaman and alchemist who often worked with Zaravari and the remainders. Together, they established a way to weave vibranium fibers into the fabric of the border tribe blankets so that they could be used as shields in battle. When the men stood side by side and extended their blankets, the border tribe could form a wall which Takanda used to his tactical advantage. King Takanda tried to broker peace with Naganda, the country to the south that felt it had jurisdiction over the Alkama fields, Wakanda's breadbasket. However, talks broke down when the Lion clan and the Hyena clan conspired with Naganda and Azania to overthrow the king. They then made an alliance with the Jabari and ignited the conflict known as the War of Five Clans. So that is why we went to war with our brothers and sisters in the South, per Anika. Zenzi's great-great-grandfather perished in that battle, per Okoye. That explains why Zenzi was so hateful, per Assyria. Which Zenzi are we referring to? I have only seen the child, the Rima. There were two. If you read Ta-Nehisi Coates' Intergalactic Empire, his 50-issue story arc, there were exactly two Zenzi. The older one and the younger one coming from the Intergalactic Empire. Everyone knows the story of how Takanda stood atop Red Rock amid battle and called for peace. He begged our brothers and sisters to not advance any farther into the Alkama fields. And when they fired upon him, he called down lightning and magic with Skybreaker, leveling the field as his ancestor Bashinga did. Although there were many casualties that day, the line held and no invaders advanced beyond Red Rock. Now, per Karama Horn, the next Black Panther up would be Azuri. That's not true. Per Dr. Eve Ewing, no, the next Black Panther we have up is actually King Mteli. And I, on behalf of the Council of Wakanda, have chosen to dub King Mteli the Protector. And what do we get significant with King Mteli? Well, we get the first official appearance of the Hatu Zaraze. Not only that, but we have the very first time a member of the Hatu Zaraze, Ndozi, Captain Ndozi, rose up against Wakanda. Would not be the last time. We actually got that with Hunter. We'll talk about that another show. But Ndozi, who resented what was going on in regards to fellow Wakandans, made a deal with another shaman, started practicing the dark arts, and turned himself into the demon Kivu Ma, whom Mteli had to protect Wakanda against. So we got Mteli with the official appearance of the Hatu Zaraze and Mteli protecting Wakanda against what I know to be the first certified demon attacking with. No, I'm not referring to the dude that took over Blade as a demon. No, Varney's a dadgum vampire. That's what that is. So the very next king to come after Takanda or before Takanda would have been Mteli. And Mteli just happens to be what? Azuri's father, who is the next Black Panther, known as Azuri the Wise by Mistress Zola, founder of the Dora Milaje Training Center, former Dora Royal Guard. During World War II, and Reginald Hutland, flags of our fathers. During World War II, not to be confused with 1943, the video game. Here. During World War II, a battalion of U.S. troops crash landed in the fields of Al-Qaima, where a row of decapitated Nazi soldiers lined the edge of the borderlands. The American forces and Steve Rogers, Captain America, were met by King Azuri and his Hattusilize. King Azuri told them to turn around and go home. The Americans refused, stating that they were on an intelligence mission from the U.S. and that the Nazis were on their way. I'm sure that went well per Myra. Rogers demanded an explanation for the bloodshed. You're not in America. You're in Africa. I don't know, and you're in a whole other nation. I don't know how you get to make demands here. King Azuri, his Iku sword, still dripping with Nazi blood, had no intention of explaining himself or his action. I and the other door were by his side back then, ready to attack along with the Hattusilize. The Hattusilize and the doors were there with King Azuri. But King Azuri decided to teach him a lesson and challenged him to a fight. King Azuri often said the only way to truly judge a man is to engage him in battle. When Azuri was satisfied, he ended the fight, Azuri ended the fight, and invited Captain Rogers to dine with him. Azuri explained how much more technologically advanced Wakanda was than the West, and Rogers tried to convince the king to share that knowledge and technology with the rest of the world. King Azuri refused. Even though some folks in the MCU would have you think differently, we don't do that here. When the Nazi attack finally came, King Azuri and Adora fought alongside Captain Rogers and pushed the Nazis back beyond Red Rock. But during the battle, the king's family, his wife Manali, and young sons T'Chaka and Sion, not to be confused But during the battle, the king's family, his wife Manali, and his young sons T'Chaka and Sion were attacked. A Black American soldier named Gabriel Jones, who served with Captain Rogers, saved the family. King Azuri considered him a descendant of Batatu, or lost ones, and to thank him for protecting the future of Wakanda. The king offered Jones honorary Wakandan citizenship, which he declined. In gratitude to Captain Rogers for his help in the battle and for keeping his knowledge of Wakanda secret, the king fashioned him a new vibranium shield, which had been upgraded and fortified for the new Captain America, another Batatu, Sam Wilson. Why would he return to America in 1942? The question is being asked, why would Gabe return to America in 1942? This question is being asked by Anika. I wonder what Azuri would think of Sam Wilson per Asira. T'Chaka, the Great. King T'Chaka was just 22 years old when he took the throne after King Azuri's passing. Although he would continue to hide Wakanda from the outside world as his father had, he maintained economic stability by selling tiny amounts of vibranium to international buyers. It is no wonder it attracted the attention of Ulysses Claw. King T'Chaka was not only a skilled fighter, but he was also an ardent supporter of technology and knowledge. He founded the Takumi Masters Program and expanded the library, hospitals, and research facilities. He also designed the King's Mercy, a vibranium short sword that measures the kinetic strength of an attack and responds with the equal amount of force. Not since King Dajata did Wakanda enjoy such wealth and growth. Wakanda's advancement in medicine alone allowed the country to cure diseases such as cancer and AIDS. Not since King T'Challa did Wakanda enjoy such wealth and growth. Wakanda's advancement in medicine alone allowed the country to cure diseases such as cancer and AIDS, from which the rest of the world still suffers today. King T'Challa also laid the foundation for the Wakandan space program. He unfortunately did not live to see Wakanda's maiden voyage to the stars. His love of science is how he met Inyami, a doctor, researcher, and an orphan of the War of the Five Clans, who left the country to study in Europe and heal from the loss of her parents. King T'Chaka later married Inyami, but she passed away from a rare autoimmune disease a week after giving birth to T'Challa. Her death made T'Chaka both emotionally distant and very protective of his only son. A few years after the queen's death, his only biological son, they adopted Hunter. A few years after the queen's death, King T'Chaka disbanded the Dora Milaje because young Prince T'Challa went missing while in their care doing a tour of the borderlands with his father. But the goddess guided Queen Ramunda, then a South African activist seeking aid for victims of apartheid in her home of Johannesburg, to the lost prince, returning him to the palace. Ramunda planned to return her home country, but again, Bash had other plans. She was granted asylum in Wakanda and eventually married King T'Chaka, giving birth to their only daughter, Shuri, and raising Prince T'Challa as her own. King T'Chaka's and Hunter. King T'Chaka's reign ended when Ulysses Claude, in search of the vibranium stores in Wakanda, attacked with an army of mercenaries. King T'Chaka stood his ground until young T'Challa became Claude's target. To shield T'Challa, King T'Chaka took the full force of Claude's sonic weapon. Distraught, young T'Challa fired back at Claude, taking his arm. Even with the heart-shaped herb's healing powers, T'Chaka passed on the battlefield in the arms of his son. Say that again about cancer. Say that again about curing cancer again so that the MCU can hear you. Yes, ma'am. Not since King T'Challa did Wakanda enjoy such wealth and growth. Wakanda's advancement in medicine alone allowed the country to cure diseases such as cancer and AIDS, from which the rest of the world still suffers today. Sion, the Swift. King Sion, the brother of the late King T'Chaka, the younger brother, never intended to become king. But at the time of T'Chaka's passing, his nephew Prince T'Challa was just a boy. Therefore, Sion was elevated to king regent in a special ceremony until T'Challa was of age. Sion loved T'Challa as if he were his own son. However, he felt the young prince was a bit naive about the world. So did Hunter. Understandable, as the prince had been sheltered within the walls of the Golden City his whole life. Therefore, when T'Challa asked to study abroad at Oxford and Stanford, the king regent was more than happy to oblige. While T'Challa was abroad, Sion gained a new purpose. He employed Hunter, T'Chaka's adopted son, and the Hattusilize to carry out covert recon and wet works missions, threatening Wakanda's poorer Nagandan neighbors to the south and quickly dispatching any would-be traitors. When T'Challa returned, he challenged the king regent for the throne in ritual combat. The prince fought 6 of Wakanda's strongest warriors before facing Sion, whom T'Challa bested easily. This is when the council intercedes on behalf of Black Panther history. We know no regular human being is beating a Black Panther. regards. And while we do understand that T'Challa went abroad and studied, we do understand that T'Challa was in peak human condition. What we submit on behalf of the council is that Sion did what Queen Turkana did and what Queen Nahana did. Sion dropped his sword to his nephew. As my brother D. Real would say, the prophet, make it make sense. Well, that makes sense. Upon his coronation, T'Challa made Sion a member of the Tafo Nagal. Sion served on the council until his untimely passing at the hands of Victor Von Doom, while protecting Queen Mother Ramunda, and Queen Aurora Monroe. Demisa Sarki, Emperor T'Challa, he who put the blade where it belonged. This section has been updated by the Queen Mother Ramunda per Okoye. When T'Challa won the throne, was seated the throne by his uncle Sion, he became known as the new Demisa Sarki, the Panther King of T'Challa. He will go down in history as the king who flung open the doors of Wakanda to the world and transitioned our government to a constitutional monarchy. He is also the first Wakandan to lead the Avengers and the first African to lead both a country on Earth and a galactic empire in the far reaches of space. Under Emperor T'Challa's reign, Wakanda has known both great victories and learned the horrors of war. T'Challa's reasons for revealing Wakanda's presence to the world were both humanitarian and designed to be a preemptive strike. He knew it was only a matter of time before someone like Claw came knocking again. He felt it would be easier to anticipate enemies on approach if the doors were already open. Additionally, Wakanda was in a position to provide technology and health and humanitarian aid, both internationally and inside the continent of Africa, and being more accessible encouraged open dialogue. This is one reason why King T'Challa created the Igubian Society, per Anika. However, not everyone agreed that the world should know about our country or its wealth. King T'Challa's work with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, and his marriage and subsequent annulment to Aurora Monroe, aka Hadadi Yao, the Walker of Clouds, left his focus split. Several attacks from both outside the country and within are evidence of that. Still, his battle with Doom was the most profound because it forced him to give up the two things that meant the most to him: his title as Black Panther and the vibranium that is the foundation of this very country. Victor Von Doom had been trying to access Wakandan vibranium for years to use it to control and dominate the world, an option that King T'Challa would never consider, as he was trying to build relationships with world leaders. Doom exploited a blind spot in Wakanda's security by quietly funding a Wakandan isolationist cell known as the Desturi for years. He also infected the royal palace of Wakanda with microscopic intelligence nanites, effectively turning everyone into his very own private surveillance system. Finally, luring King T'Challa under the guise of a private meeting, Doom viciously attacked the Black Panther, forcing two Dora Milaje to trade their lives for his safe return to Wakanda. But his injury was so severe that Princess Regent Shuri, with vast blessing, of course, became the Black Panther in his place after T'Challa regained his strength. Not came back from being deleted, after he regained his strength. Words have meaning. After he regained his strength, he prepared Wakanda for a battle that will be spoken of for generations, one in which Doom and T'Challa did the unthinkable. Doom robbed Wakanda of all its vibranium. To keep Doom from destroying the world, T'Challa rendered the vibranium inert worldwide. It was with my access to dark Wakandan magic that the king became whole again, per Zaravari. Many wondered if Wakanda would ever recover, but with foresight that would have made his father proud, King T'Challa and the Wakandan Trust had been liquidating the Wakandan vibranium reserve at a rate at over 750 pounds of vibranium a month for over a decade. They were investing billions of dollars into emerging tech around the world. In this way, King T'Challa found a way to maintain Wakanda's role as a world sovereign superpower, even without the vibranium. Wakanda purchased much of America's debts as well, per tie. However, King T'Challa was no longer the Black Panther. His sister, Shuri, was. To regain his powers, the evil Okan, the heart-shaped herb, had granted him, T'Challa went to the goddess Baz for help. Baz imbued him with new abilities, crowning T'Challa with a new title, King of the Dead. This power gave T'Challa access to every Demisa Sarki that had ever come before him and their knowledge. These are powers that he would need in the years to come. King T'Challa would not be called Demisa Sarki again until Burning Zane arose and fell 2 more times, once from the waters of Namor and then again from the fires of Thanos' army. The latter saw Black Panther Queen Regent Shuri defeated, not deleted, defeated at the hands of Black Order member Proxima Midnight. The country was wounded. Never before had Wakandans experienced the loss that the 2 previous wars had dealt. Areas of Wakanda, like the Jabari lands that the monarchy had little control over in peacetime, became lawless and dangerous in the aftermath of war. And many had grown distrustful of not just the king, but the monarchy itself. Even Baba Shangarmeyer had been exiled from Burning Zana for teaching anti-monarchical rhetoric at this point, per Mirror. Tetu, a Nagandan warrior shaman and former student of Shangarmeyer, began the resistance movement called the People. With King T'Challa and Okoye out of the country fighting on the world stage, the new generation of Dora Milaje was also at odds with their king. Trained as his protectors, they witnessed firsthand the mistreatment of women and girls in the outlying areas of Wakanda and the extortion of merchants within the city. The Dora Milaje joined forces with the people for a short time to protect Wakandans from growing upheaval. T'Challa returned to a country now at war with itself. If battles at home with the Nagandans and the Dora Milaje left King T'Challa worn thin, then the reemergence of Ulysses Claw, his father's the leader, along with the originators, left him doubting his regency. But by the goddess, Princess Shuri was revived and aided King T'Challa in defeating his enemies. She also brought the Dora back into the fold and helped to quell the resistance. At the urging of the Midnight Angels and what remained of the people, King T'Challa reached a compromise with his citizens. He would not dissolve the monarchy, but rather establish a constitutional monarchy. The Constitution, drafted by the new Constitutional Council, worked quickly to restore order and not a moment too soon, because what was to follow would take T'Challa to the other side of the galaxy. King T'Challa and his father had often discussed the derivation of vibranium and the possibility of mining it off-world. The king sent a team on a special expedition to find the source of Menengal to procure more of the precious ore. But neither the ship nor its crew would ever return. No one could predict the team would slip through a wormhole and end up 2,000 years in the past on the other side of the galaxy. Or that After years of battling marauders on the edge of space, the explorers turned settlers would become the tyrannical intergalactic empire of Wakanda. But there were rumors and stories of a King T'Challa, a legend who was a hero to his people. The nameless, who were slaves to the empire, thought he died in battle, but others, such as the rebel Maroons who resisted servitude, thought differently. Their fearless leader, General Inyami, a nameless born Taki Maza, was raised on stories of T'Challa. They called him he who put the blade where it belonged, and she lived just long enough to meet him. We have entered a new age with the galactic bridge linking our universe and technology with our newfound brothers and sisters across time and space. The goddess Bass kept her promise to T'Challa, her chosen avatar, elevating our king to emperor and Wakanda, the country, to Wakanda, the empire. Njidaka, aka Eric Killmonger. It matters why he's here, because the truth is here. Two lives were changed by the same man that day that King T'Chaka passed away. One was the life of child Prince T'Challa, and the other was that of Njidaka, a boy who happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Njidaka's parents were killed during Claw's invasion by a traitor that had let him into the country. That traitor would be Njobu. When Claw was injured by T'Challa, his men retreated, as did the traitor, Njobu, who kidnapped Njidaka because he had seen his face. The boy was taken to America, where he did not know the language or the customs. He was forced to steal and fight for the man who had ripped him from his homeland, Njobu. But when Njidaka was old enough, he took the kidnapper's life, Njobu. Creating a new life for himself under the American name Eric Killmonger, Njidaka joined the military to pay for school. A genius-level intellect, Killmonger wanted to return to Wakanda, but not before he traveled the world and learned to hone his skills as a spy and assassin. No one ever said the name of Njidaka again until his ancestor, Emperor Njidaka of the intergalactic Wakanda Empire, bonded with a Clintar symbiote and traveled the galactic bridge through time to battle King T'Challa in our time, per Myra. When King T'Challa opened Wakanda to the open world, Killmonger returned to Wakanda, but the life he had away from his birthplace had hardened him, and he longed to use Wakanda's resources to subjugate the rest of the world. Killmonger challenged King T'Challa for the throne, and again, his life of war proved beneficial. Killmonger defeated T'Challa and became the next Black Panther, but it was short-lived. The Iwi Okan heart-shaped herb took its toll on his body. Some say no one outside of the Panther clan could absorb large quantities of the herb. Others feel that the goddess Bast rejected him. Aja Adana, Princess Shuri, the ancient future. As a child, Shuri focused heavily on becoming the next Black Panther after King T'Chaka's passing. Whether it was guilt or a sense of duty that drove Shuri, Queen Ramonda and the daughter had to physically stop her stepping forward to battle Wakanda's strongest herself on that day. T'Challa entered ritual combat for the crown, in which we say what? Sion dropped the sword to T'Challa. She wore the panther habit 4 times before her walk, 4, in Dajaya, once against Morlan, then Doom, followed by Anubis, and then sadly against her own brother. After Namor leveled the Golden City, turning most of Wakanda into a necropolis, Shuri confronted T'Challa, who gave up his title for her and now wore the mantle of King of the Dead, and demanded why he showed mercy to Namor. I have never defied a king and never will, but our decision to decommission our weapons at his feet as we stood on the graves of our fallen hurt me to the core. As Black Panther, Queen Shuri did what T'Challa could not do. She exacted revenge upon Atlantis with a deadly precision we hadn't seen since the Skrulls attempted to cross our borders. This is Shuri. She exacted revenge against Namor for flooding Atlantis, for Namor flooding Wakanda. This takes place during Avengers versus X-Men. There was not a Wakandan that remained alive that had any love, any compassion for any mutant. Not to mention, Wakandans are already xenophobes, period. Let's not act like Gentle is not seen as an outsider because he's a mutant and he's Wakandan. Right. So when we start thinking about stuff, actions that don't make sense, i.e., folks just having access to vibranium, i.e., somebody thinking somebody gifted somebody some armor, vibranium armor, and didn't take it back. Shuri, we're talking Shuri. The same young lady who got put to sleep during Ten of Swords. She's spiteful. She's vengeful. I would dare ask the question, why we ain't seen Shuri go looking for Aurora, period. Forget thinking it's a game. No, Shuri would go looking for Aurora. The Shuri that we know, she would have took the Hatu Zaraze. She would have taken the Dora Milaje, and she would have visited the mutants themselves. Oh, we sitting up here talking about the X-Man hunt. That's what we talking about. No, there's a crossover event sitting up there that nobody wants to write, and that's Wakanda versus the X-Men, because that's still on the table. It is still very much on the table. So it is very, thank you, Karama Horn, for keeping the history. Thank you to Rock With Me Nation, Black Panther fans, Council of Wakanda, Black Panther fan group for pulling up, because this is the history. I'm not just a guy saying it. No, there are women out here that have been leading the charge as well, recording the history. So you gonna check me, you gonna check them too, huh? Right. She exacted revenge upon Atlantis with a deadly precision we hadn't seen since the Skrulls attempted to cross our borders. See Wakanda and be deleted. By the time the threatening incursions reached our galaxy, she finally understood her brother's actions and reconciled. But she finally understood her brother's actions, why he was moving the way he was moving. I know somebody wrote something different, but we don't do that here. No, Shuri know why T'Challa was moving the way he was moving. They all knew why he was moving the way he was moving. Thus, that trash that a male wrote is even worse when you think about it, because he knew better. He just wanted to do something different, as if there weren't fans checking for T'Challa. Your bad. By the time the threatening incursions reached our galaxy, she finally understood her brother's actions and reconciled. But unfortunately, that was just as Thanos' army invaded, and our Queen Shuri stayed behind to fight the Black Order alone. She battled the one called Proxima Midnight, who found a way to reverse engineer the living death and entrap, not delete, entrap Queen Shuri. Our queen stayed in suspended animation in the amber for almost a year as King Regent T'Challa worked with every scientist on the planet to free her. It wasn't until the king and Manifold, Eden Fessy, realized her spirit was not with her body that they crossed the plains of Djalia to bring her home. Shuri, now known as Aja Adana, the ancient future, looked like she had lived a lifetime when she returned. No longer the bright young scientist, quick to smile and joke with her brother. See the evolution of the character? Because we still want to write her like that. No longer the bright young scientist, quick to smile and joke with her brother, the woman who stood before me with gray locks and a young woman's face looked as if she carried the weight of millennium with her. She said a day in Djalia was like a century to her. Now Aja Adana, Princess Shuri, fights alongside the. They said her hair is gray. She looked young in her 20s, but her hair is gray. We shouldn't have no problem with that image. Remember Steve Martin, Saturday Night Live. Thank you. She said a day in Djalia was like a century to her. Now Aja Adana, Princess Shuri, fights alongside the Dora instead of behind us. She helped repair the ranks of the Midnight Angels when members lost their way and was far more merciful than I ever would have been. She has been a part of every battle since she returned, no longer questioning, but simply answering. We are not worthy of the knowledge and love she possesses for Wakanda, her mother, or her brother. To the Dora Milaje, Aja Adana is the possessor of all Wakanda knowledge, and like the Misasaki, must be protected at all costs. I think Okoye is still angry with us, per Ayo and Anika. I'm going to go back to where I left off in notes with Grand Madam Tarot. We got Big Archie. What's going on, Big Archie? Thank you so much for putting up. Theo B, question, have you ever spoke on Antarctic vibranium? A little bit, not specifically in as much as people knowing the differences between it. But I can do a video in regards to that. I wouldn't mind doing it. Archie question would be addressed at the end. Yeah, you got it, Big Dog. He has spoken on numerous times already. Yeah, just haven't done it. Appreciate you, Big Kamoyo. Just haven't done it as a specific video, but I'll be more than happy to do that. Derivation equals origin. The Kamoyo King, president of Black Panther fan group. Salute to the tribe. What's going on? I tell them. Now you know who the hell Njobu is. Yes, we do. Now we know who Njobu is. Grand Manor Flag. Wait, that's the source of that story? Yep. 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 Good evening. My brother Flash by Night. Thank you so much for pulling up, Big Dog. Thank you so much. Mr. Ray Smith in the building, my elder. Oh, he's going over Karama Horn's handbook, Wakandan class in session. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. For those that want to know, for those that care to know, for those that love to know, but might not have a way to know, I felt like this was beneficial in correcting some of the nonsense out there in regards to Black Panther lore. And while I am a man, this does come from a woman, this woman who has done her research. Right. Okay. All right. So hey, see, see, I got the book written by the woman as a man, and by and large, I'm deferring to the book. I'm making some adjustments here and there. So that whole thing about crazy how they and a book written by a woman with a woman on the cover. That's crazy. Oh man, exactly. Pull up and see, hit the light, flash by night. Thank you so much. Knowing that Shooty finally understood makes you confused on why they keep. And this is why we're doing it. This is knowing that Shooty finally understood makes you confused on why they keep making her push against T'Challa so often as of recently. Yep. Because here we go. I would like to think that, to your point, now tell them I ain't the first one knew this. I would like to think I know I ain't the only one know it. I just would have liked to have thought that the person that wrote that crap for 15 issues, I would have liked it for them to have given me some semblance that they know this as well. Seems like we just hiring folks off the street just based on the pigmentation of their skin. I don't want that. I need the next writer to know, care. That's what I need from the next one. Know, care. Fan base. The fan base might not. The fan base might know more than the writer. That's possible. But the fan base shouldn't care more than the writer. Like I'm thinking that's got to match up some type of way. But hey, we're gonna see what's going on. Big Ken, Mr. Macapine in the building. Thank you so much for pulling up, Miss Ken. The handbook is almost like. Yeah, 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 sure is. Sure is. Yeah, yeah. Especially when you didn't read it. Like when you didn't read all that other stuff, and you be like, it was make, you know what? It make you sit down when you think about it. Karama Horn and read some stuff. No, I don't think we, no, pause. Now, I don't think we really giving that the appreciation it's due. But Theo, what you mean? Well, I don't think Karama Horn is as old as me. She not. And if she's not as old as me, then she's not as old as some other people in the tribe, right? Right. She's not as old as some people in the fan group. She's not as old as some people in the council. She ain't. But do you know how much she done read? No, no. Do you know how much she read? Like this ain't she. My brother Darren was talking about Cliff Notes and how his teacher could have. No, she didn't read no Cliff Notes to come up with this. You ready? She did something quite a few Black Panther fans haven't done. She jumped in it. She jumped in. Okay. She exposed herself to Black Panther history. That's the best way I can say it. I was gonna say something else, but I don't want to get in trouble. She exposed herself to Black Panther. She jumped right on in. Didn't care whether she drowned or whether she sank. She jumped right on in. There was no challenge, no story too complicated. She couldn't do. She did it all. So shout out to the queen. Thank you so much, Miss Karama Horn. I did make some adjustments. I did, but I think they're fair adjustments. Now I tell them manufacturing gender wars in the Black community. Yeah. Yeah. My head. Yeah. Trying to get these notes. There we go. Yes, as Black folks realize how much we need each other, the other man tries to push the vision. Absolutely. So Njobu is madam from the rise of the Black Panther, I guess. Yeah, I know I did read somewhere that Njobu was the person that kidnapped Eric. I got to go back and find that where it was, but it was in some of that stuff. I think it's in Eric's story. Eric Killmonger got a short story himself. I think it's over there. It's one of those other stories I intend to cover for us and everything like that, Mr. Ray Smith. But yeah, that was in Njobu kidnapped Eric. Eric, the kingpin. Because it was the kingpin that commissioned all that. I don't know why we ain't seen when Eric come back. Don't bring Eric back to take on T'Challa. No, Eric got two folks on his list: Claw and the Kingpin. The Kingpin and Claw. Claw and the Kingpin in that order. Them double K's. He need to go handle that. Don't have him come back over here no more. Yes, ma'am. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. And then wait from Rise of the Black Panther, autocorrect. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Because I was confused. So y'all telling me that Njobu is a real Black Panther comic book character and not? It's a retcon. It's a retcon. We didn't know who the heck Njobu was. They read that stuff out there. Okay, well, here come Eric Killmonger's limited series. And they tried to make it make sense because they try and tell you that Eric, as a regular human, deleted Claw. I'm gonna say beat T'Challa. And everybody understands how problematic that is because it's like, okay, well, who, what for? So I forget who wrote. I almost want to think it was Brian Hill that wrote it, but they retconned Eric's story and they tried to make it seem as though Eric had the blessings of Bass's sister, and nobody talks about her. She's a vengeful spirit and everything like that. So that way they're able to say Eric also possessed the abilities of a deity, which when you look at it, okay, so Eric possesses the abilities of a deity, and then he's going to take the heart-shaped herb on top of it because he wanted the Black Panther abilities. Okay. So he was just greedy then. But you know, that would kind of line up. Eric want everything for Eric. So I ain't satisfied with just one. I want all of it. So it's just one of them things. I'm glad she took a deep dive into the story. Karama looks to be in her early 30s, beautiful woman. Absolutely, I agree with that. And yeah, she had to have done her homework and asked many questions. People like Nate, she jumped in it. she jumped in it. She jumped in it, and it's greatly appreciated. I felt like this was something that we needed. There's all kind of rumor, speculation, and innuendo and out there. And once again, if this is your first time pulling up, please leave a like, share the video and everything like that. We running the 1500. We're running the 1500. I think we had 30, something. Y'all know where we at. I think we had 12. I think we had 1245 and everything like that. So we're running the 1300. So if this is your first time here putting up, your presence is greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel, become a member. We're Black Panther channel. That's what we're doing. So yeah, retcon. Yeah, Kamoyo, retcon. Ronnie, he was forced into that story for that good old MC. Yeah, absolutely. Hill did right. Thank you. Appreciate it, Flash by Night. See, it ain't just me. No, it's a family affair. Yes, family affair. Appreciate that. But knowing Marvel, it was their idea and he had to make something out of nothing. He did his doggone this, you know, which leaves it up to the council and the Black Panther fan group to kind of make sense out of it. But he gave us something. At least he knew, okay, well, Eric ain't just beating T'Challa willy-nilly by himself. No, something got to be behind him. So thank you so much, Mr. Hill Illuminati. Definitely appreciate that. Mdimwe is not T'Chaka's brother. No, he's not. He's not. And they're not Njobu, going back to that retcon, it's not T'Chaka's brother. He's just somebody that is a traitor. He's a traitor. It ain't even written like that. No, Njobu ain't related to nobody in the Panther family. No, not at all. Not at all. So they didn't write it like that. So are there any more questions? Any more comments? We're gonna be coming back to y'all. Like I said, protectors of Wakanda. This is great. I want to make sure we have it. If you're a Black Panther fan, I think it's important that we have this knowledge. We deserve to know our hero as much as other people know their hero. The next portion we will be dealing with is the history of the Dora Milaje, the founding of the Dora Milaje Training Center, and the birth of the Midnight Angels. And that will not be take as long as this particular reading did. Other than that, if we don't have anything else, once again, thank you so much to Ms. Karama Horn for this. Thank you to the Rock With Me Nation, Black Panther Fan Group, Council of Wakanda for pulling up. This was a blast. How many Black Panthers we got? How many we got? What they say, 16? It ain't 16. No, but 18. 18. And are we counting Eric? No, we're not. We're not counting. We got to continue these classes, Grill, all the way to the end of the book. People will quickly run out of excuses. Hey, man, say less. Say less. I'm going to have to run this book. Yeah. Mr. Ray Smith, my elder. So, yeah, we got that. We're going to continue to make it do what it's going to do. It's about growing the knowledge. It's about growing the knowledge. That's all it's about, growing the knowledge. And we appreciate those who help grow the knowledge, regardless of who they are. We appreciate those who help grow the representation, the imagery, the love, the loyalty, regardless of who they are. So that's what that is and everything like that. If you have not picked up Black Panther issue 6 by Dr. Eve Ewing, this is where you have Ndozi, Kivu Ma, and Mteli in it. I suggest that you go pick that up. As I like to tell people, you want to know what's going on with the character, with your favorite character, it's important to touch the character in all iterations. Wakanda, I believe, is a 5-issue series. If you don't have it, I suggest you go pick it up, especially issue 2. This is when you get the telling of King's Entry. You go ahead and pick that up. Go ahead and have all that. So yeah, share these lives everywhere. We will not tell them. Did Marvel Comics retcon T'Chaka's oldest son, Jakar? They haven't done anything. I think myself, I know I was talking to Mr. Smith about Jakar. I'm making it my mission to go, my business, to go on a fact-finding mission in regards to Jakar, see what's up with him. But by and large, his fate is, I'm thinking his fate is pretty much similar to that of other characters of Wakanda. One and done. Writer comes in. Writer doesn't revisit old stories, older characters. Just, does their own thing, and we're left with another character we can't find anywhere. Martina is his mother. Let me see. We will not tell him. Did Marvel got to share this knowledge? Great stuff. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Martina is his mother. Ronna, they didn't mention him or Hunter much at all. Yeah, not at all. So it's one of those things where it's incumbent upon us to do it. Well, at the very least, I consider it my responsibility to do it. So I it's a lot. Not Theo, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm trying to get as much out there as I possibly can, but you can't really deal with distractions. Jakar got the same treatment as all the other usual BP characters. Yes, he did. So, but I'm gonna find out what's going on with Jakar. Matima is Jakar's mother. Appreciate that, Mr. Smith. Appreciate that, Mr. Smith. I'm probably gonna hit Mr. Smith up there. But yes, that is it. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. This has been a blast. Like I said to you last night, we're gonna keep these coming. We got to get some comic book content out and everything like that. Keep the lore going. So make sure you got your notifications on. Make sure you got your notifications on. We are gonna bring it to you, Miss Horn. Thank you once again. That the book is absolutely beautiful. We are enjoying it as a fan group, as a council. That said, we out. She was a spy. Thank y'all so much. This was a blast. Till next time, in memory of the late, great Don Cornelius and Chadwick Boseman, I wish each and every last one of you love, peace, and so we out.